Let's make some pianos. So I'm going to show you how to make really soft and emotional pianos that I use in almost every single one of my songs. This one, we're going to be using a contact library called Noir. I'll make another video doing free VST libraries, but for this one, I'm going to stick to Noir because I like it the most. With our default patch of Noir Pure and no processing at all, it's going to sound like this. It's a decent sounding piano, but it doesn't sound soft and organic like we want it to. So there's going to be two main controls to mess with the tonality of this piano, and that's going to be the color and the tonal shift. So first, I'm going to play the loop while I'm messing with the color knob so you can hear how that sounds. I think here between 50 and 60% sounds pretty nice. And now let's mess with the tonal shift. I think that sounds pretty nice there. And now let's check out the dynamic knob. I think right about there sounds good. Now there are built-in reverb and delays, but I'm actually going to use a convolver instead externally to process the reverb. Okay, I'm going to click on whatever this thing is right here. It's going to open up some options for us to use. Now I'm going to mess with this noises stuff. It's going to add some organic noises to the pianos. That's not the note itself, but just other things like the hammer, pedal, and felt. So I'm just going to start playing with these options until I get something that I like while playing the piano. And I'm going to show you guys all ranges of these as well so you could know the capabilities. I think that sounds pretty nice right there. We have it. It's not overbearing, but we have some nice textures. Now let's see what the tonal depth does. I think right here is pretty nice. If we leave it up too high, it sounds like the piano is really drowned out, which could be a cool effect in some cases, but right here, I want the piano to sound pretty clear still. All right, let's move on to the effects section. So right here, we have an EQ, which we're gonna utilize. I'm gonna check this on, and I'm also gonna check off the noises thing right here. So what this does is it routes the noises to the EQ, the noises we just messed with, pedal, mechanical, and felt. If this was off, the EQ would bypass the noises, mechanical, and felt, but I also wanted to activate it here, so I'm gonna leave it on. The EQ is pretty simple. Presence is high end, body is mids, bass is low end. So let's configure that until we have something that sounds nice. All right, I like how that sounds there. Now let's move on to the transient control and compressor. So what the transient is how long does the note sustain for until it starts to decay off and fade in volume. So the more sustain you have, if you're holding down the piano note, it's gonna hold out for longer. And if we're shifted more to the attack side, more like a staccato note, where you tap the note and it starts to decay immediately. I'm only going to have it at about 3%. I don't want it to be sustained too much because we're going to do a lot of that work with the compressor. So there's a bunch of compression modes here. I like to use the soft compressor, and I'm just going to activate this and we'll see how that sounds as well. We don't need it doing a ton of work here, so I'm just going to leave it around 6%. So this is going to be it for the processing I do inside of Noir. If you guys like this and want me to do another video where I cover every single control in Noir, leave it in the comments and I'll do that in a separate video. But now let's move on to the post-processing that I would normally put on my pianos. So before I jump too much into post-processing, I do want to acknowledge that the velocity here is all at the same level. Now, realistically, when you're playing a real piano, you're not hitting every note with the same intensity, which is what the velocity is, how intense you play the note when you press it. So I want to randomize this a little more and also just customize it a bit to what I like. So what I'm going to do to select everything is Control click, and I'm going to select everything here. Now I'm going to go to Tools, Randomize, and then the velocity here. You can mess with it however you want. I'm going to leave it on bipolar. So bipolar means it's just going to randomize both ways. If you uncheck that, you could randomize and the range will be down and or up, depending on where you want it to be. I like to have the bipolar setting on, and you could really just mess with the velocity however you want here. I'm going to leave it at about right here. That's a decent range, I think. Now already the piano sounds a bit more natural, but there's some notes popping out that I don't really want to, and some notes not popping out enough that I want to accentuate a bit more. First of all, the high A sharp, I'm going to hold Alt and then click all these notes, and it's going to have them go back all to the same velocity. And then I'm just going to continue holding Alt and scroll down, and I'm just going to bring all of these down so that these notes are going to be played very, very softly. Now I'm also going to do the same thing with the bass notes. I'm going to have them all at the exact same, but I'm not going to decrease them too much because the bass notes are important for this. And now I'm going to take everything except for those top notes that I already mess with and just bring it down a little bit so this piano is more soft. So I did a bit more tweaking with the velocity and got it exactly how I want it to sound. And here's what it sounds like now. All right, so now let's dive into the effects I put on here because I do have quite a bit of post-processing going on. The first thing is an EQ. I'm just ducking some of the low end and taming that out and then increasing the high mids a little bit. Next, I added some OTT at about 22%. It's going to bring a bit of color back into the piano as well as that high-end textures. Next, I've added some convolver reverb using the Fruity Convolver, and I really like this 250 Seat Hall mid-stage preset. All right, so here I added even more EQ, boosting the high mids around 2000 Hertz. Next up, I added Soothe 2. I chose the Piano Enhancer preset and then messed with the EQ curve as I thought fit this sound the best. It's a dynamic EQ, so it's only going to reduce certain frequencies based on when they cross a certain threshold. As I play the sound, you'll see what's going on. So I mainly have it activated here to tame down those lower frequencies. And what it's doing is when the piano is playing those low frequencies, the EQ is selectively going to reduce those frequencies, but it's not going to do all of them in the area, just the ones that are playing at the current time. So it doesn't remove the body of the sound, but it controls it really nicely. After that, I added just a little bit more EQ to fine tune this a little bit. And then this fruity balance here is just making it louder because it's really quiet right now. So yeah, guys, that's the end result for this. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot, and I thank you in advance. I'm also going to do another similar video to this, but with a free version of Piano VST, so that if you don't have Noir, I'll provide alternatives and also process the pianos for free. If this video gets a lot of love, I'll do another video like this, but with free plugins only, so you guys don't have to go and drop the bag on Noir if you don't want to. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace out.